Good morning, boys and girls. I am Mrs. Horn, and I am your mystery reader today. And you've got a job to do when we get through reading the book that I chose, because you're going to be on a jury. I know y'all have heard the story of the three little pigs and how bad the wolf was in that story. Well, today you're going to hear another side of the story, and you're going to hear it from the big bad wolf. And this is the true story of the three little pigs. And guess who wrote it? Let's see. A. Wolf, by A. Wolf. And he's going to tell you his side of the story. And when you get through with this story, you're going to decide whether the wolf did it or whether the pigs were right. You're going to decide. All right, here we go. Everyone knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. And the first page, the illustrator of the book, used the bricks and the straw and the sticks to make the E, the capital E. Well, hello. My name is Alexander T. Wolf, but you can just call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but you know it's all wrong. Now here is the big bad wolf, and he's telling you, this is Al, and he's going to tell you his side of the story. Maybe it's because of what the wolves eat. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too if you ate a cheeseburger. There's that big old cheeseburger that you probably would love to eat right now. But like I was saying, the whole bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. And here he's drawn the cup, and he's wrote sneeze plus sugar, and that's what caused the whole problem. This is the real story, he says. And on this page, he used a lot of the pig things. He did a nose, and he did a mouth, and he did his snout, and he did the straw. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake, and it was for my dear old granny. I just had a terrible sneezing cold, and I would sneeze all day long. And when I was making the cake, I ran out of sugar. You can't make a cake without sugar, and if you will look, he has put several things in his cake. One thing you wouldn't put in a cake, he's put some bunny ears. And it looks like he's put some eggs. But he's run out of sugar, so what's he gonna do? And here's his dear old Grammy over here in the corner waiting for her cake. So, I decided to go next door. And ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor happened to be a pig, and here's the pig's house. But you know what? This pig wasn't too bright. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So here he's walking, and he's going to get his cup of sugar. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk in on somebody else's house, so I called out, little pig, are you in? And there was no answer. I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I puffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to hold it. But I couldn't hold it. I sneezed a great big sneeze. I sneezed so hard my tie came off. And look, the little pig was home all by himself. He was home. He just didn't answer the door. And you know what? That whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of that pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham lying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there and you're hungry. He just ate that little pig right up. I was feeling a little bit better because my stomach was full, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next door neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter than the first little pig, but not by much. He had built his house made out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. And here he is shaving his chinny chin chin. Doesn't want the wolf in. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming along. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed the greatest sneeze you've ever seen. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared out, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. And his little tail sticking up too. What do you think, that he's going to eat this little pig too? Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping because I was getting awfully full. But my cold was feeling a little bit better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's big brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the door. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? And now you know what that rude little porker answered. And you know porker's another word for pig. Get out of here, wolf, and don't bother me again. Talk about not having nice manners. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear old sweet Granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about ready to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on again. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. And then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. He didn't have good manners, did he? Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow. But when somebody talks about my granny like that, then I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, and here come the cops, because the third little pig had called the cops. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing, and I was just making a real ugly scene. Well, the rest is history, as they say. My name got put in the newspaper. Headlines, Big Bad Wolf. The news reporters found out about the two little pigs that I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy's going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and the puff and blow the house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. I really didn't do it. I didn't mean to. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. So where was the big bad wolf put? He was put in jail. Now, you've got a job to do. You've got to decide whether the three little pigs told the true story or whether the wolf told the true story. And if you'll let Miss Ellen know sometime whether the wolf was guilty or the pigs were guilty, I bet you she wants to know. I'll see you next time. Thank you.